This is a podcast. Welcome back to Movie Smackdown. With me this week, Jacob Betzner, Tyler Toledo, Ethan McCabe, and as always, your now baby-faced, incredibly handsome host, McLean Hirschbill. So this week, we are not talking about movies in the sense of comparing movies, but we will instead be ranting. So welcome to the Rantcast. So, guys, we all love films, but at other times they piss us off. And I want to start with one thing about films that pisses us off. Remakes. How do we feel about them, guys? Remakes, reboots, unnecessary movie spin-offs. Let's start with that.
They can, if they never made another remake ever, I don't think I would care. I gotta be honest. I can't think of a single remake that gets it right.
So is Fury Road a remake or a reboot in your opinion?
I would say it's a reboot.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, cause that I'd say that's a good remake.
I mean, those
reboots have proven to be like successful on multiple occasions.
Yeah.
Not with Alien though.
I don't know. I feel like reboots are also like they fail more often than they succeed.
They did. Yeah. No, you're right. But I can list a couple of examples where reboots have done well. I can't think of a single remake where I'm just like, yeah, that was better.
Of a few.
I can think of some.
Yeah, I'll let Ethan.
All right. The Jungle Book, the 2016 remake. It's the first one is just goofy. It's just weird. It's kooky. But this one, it actually. What? No. But like this one, it's different. It's not just remaking the same stuff. It's different. And like the good news is, if you love the old Jungle Book, you'll love this one in a different way because it's really different. I thought that's a one remake that was like, okay, you built upon it and you made it different. Nice.
Yeah.
What got me thinking about this topic is, Jacob, you were on one of the most unnecessary remakes, which was Red Dawn. It seems like there's a lot of remakes of stuff nobody's asked for.
Yeah, no, dude, every single movie ever made has been remade at some point. You just haven't heard of the remake because it disappeared the second it was remade.
Yeah.
Like it's insane. Like there's a Get Carter remake with Stallone from I think 2003. Do you remember Get Carter from the 70s?
No, I never heard of Get
That's
Carter.
Michael Caine. He's like a hitman. Yeah, no, it's insane. Like I think Straw Dogs got a remake as well. Like it's absurd.
The Mechanic, that's a remake series.
Yeah, that too. No, it's ridiculous. Although there are remakes that I do think work. Like The Departed is a remake. I haven't seen the original though, so I don't know.
Yeah.
The Thing is a remake, the John Carpenter film, and that's an amazing movie.
Yeah.
The new Suspiria I thought was really incredible.
Wait, you're talking about the original Thing that's like we all know by John Carpenter, or the remake they made that was...
Oh, yeah. No, John Carpenter's remake got remade. That's right.
Actually, no, wait.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's crazy. But yeah, no, I think if a director sees a film and they're like, oh, I can improve on this, or I have my own interpretation of this, they can actually make a pretty good movie. But a lot of the time, more often than not, I think it is a studio just going, hey... And then audiences remember this. Or we have no original ideas. Let's just pull up one of our properties that we own.
And then sometimes you get The Mummy with Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Who asked for that? Like, I don't think The Mummy had like a big enough following that anybody needed that.
They wanted the dark universe.
They were trying to universe.
Yeah. But like,
cinematic universe.
Also like, there's gonna be another Ghostbusters remake.
Yeah.
And we're coming off the heels of probably like one of the most hated remakes in history still. Like 2016 is not that far.
Isn't the Ghostbusters one coming up though a reboot though? Because
that's what they said about the last one too, though.
I don't know. I thought it took place in the same like whatever as the first.
Yeah, I heard it could be a direct sequel. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I thought it was a sequel.
Yeah, sequel.
But I mean, I'm very cautious about that one. I don't know how. I mean, the trailer looks okay.
Yeah, it looks
okay. And Disney's been doing this thing like, which is honestly, they just do every film but live action.
Yeah,
that's the worst.
And they're gonna and they get away with it. They're gonna make a ton of money every time.
was one of the highest grossing movies.
Yeah.
Did anyone see it?
Yes,
no, I didn't see
apparently.
it.
Seen enough.
I have not seen it.
But
Yeah,
it's they took an animated movie and animated it again, but made it like really grossly realistic.
Yeah,
And then that's it.
I've heard. I've heard if you take out the sound and then just put documentary music over it, you get more entertainment value out of it.
It's funny.
yeah. Well,
Totally.
so Ethan, you texted me a movie that's being made that
Yes.
nobody asked for. You want to share that with the crowd here?
Yeah, the movie that's being made, The Magic School Bus.
No,
Oh my god.
I have to see it, but I know I don't want.
Okay, and guess who's in talks to play the lead? Elizabeth Banks.
Oh.
I can't think of who that is.
Isn't she? Hold on. What is she in?
But like these movies are like. Is it like there's no more original idea? Like I feel like there's a trope that everybody says there's no more original ideas.
No, it's
Disclaimer.
just easier to come up with
I
old
just wanna-
ideas.
Just want to say
What?
one thing. Elizabeth Banks, you might be good in the movie. I'm not judging. You might be good in it. Just why do we need a Magic School Bus movie?
Yeah.
Because money.
Money. Yeah.
But like my favorite thing, especially like with remakes this day, is like some people try to like convince themselves they like these movies too. Like I felt like I saw that a lot with The Lion King. Like they were still weirded out, but they say, well, it's still like a great movie. I'm like, yeah.
People just want to justify their crappy movie ticket purchases.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that happens a lot. And this is my kind of crappy attempt into segueing us into my next topic, which is fandoms.
Ugh.
That sums it up.
Ooh.
So fandoms are like, most of the time, I don't mind them, but they seem to be, as of these days, get like incredibly toxic, incredibly
They've
fast.
always been bad.
And the weirder thing is, the more niche the fandom, the more toxic the community is.
I don't know if I've ever seen a community as rancid as a lot of the Star Wars community.
Yeah, that was the first one I wanted to start. Like, so let's talk. Like, I like Star Wars. I like Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
I like the comics. But they're the most annoying fans out there.
Bro, they're really like the fans are just sitting there and like they love this series, but they also hate everything about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a really weird abusive relationship.
Yeah.
I can't figure out who's the
I love
abuse-
Star Wars, but I hate 6 out of the 9 movies.
Yeah.
I don't like the originals. The comics are cool. Ooh, the Clone Wars, 60% of it is bad. You can watch the rest.
I've heard I've heard if you like the sequels, you're not, or like 8 and 9, you're not a Star Wars fan apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't like the sequels, but a lot of the criticisms that they get are so absolutely unjustified, and the vitriolic hatred for those movies is obscene.
Like,
I'll criticize those movies any day. I don't think they're great. I think they're pretty crap, but people are just sitting there, just acting like this is the actual apocalypse that these movies came out.
Well, and like, can we get that? Like, so many of these fans hated the idea of a woman being in the lead role in these sequels. They
That's
convinced
the other thing.
They convinced themselves they like the sequels better. Like that.
Yeah.
Like
The amount of turnaround that the fandom has had about the prequels is insane.
Yeah, that's
Like,
amazing.
Oh yeah, I hate that. I hate that people justify like the prequels being better than they actually were because the new ones are so bad. It's like the new ones are not like good movies by any stretch of the imagination, but they're pretty well made at least.
Yeah,
the prequels were like the same level of bad in terms of like developing a coherent story. Actually, no, I would say that the prequels were good at keeping consistent, but were like awful technically, had no character development. Like the new movies are way better at that stuff, I think.
I like to describe the prequels as high budget B movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like Starship Troopers is a better movie than any of the prequels.
Yeah.
I mean,
Here's the
Revenge
thing.
of
There are a
the Sith
lot of
is one
movies
my
better than
favorite.
any of the prequels.
I really like
Like,
the Force
Revenge of the
Awakens.
Sith is
I liked
one of my
Rogue
favorite
One.
Star Wars movies ever.
Mhm.
I will say that. I don't think it's great, but I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Which one?
Revenge of the Sith.
Oh yeah.
But we used to be in a place where everyone was like in agreement. They're like, yeah, the prequels are pretty bad, but now that all the fans that grew up on the prequels are now old, and
Yeah.
they have the nostalgia boner for them.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's like, oh yeah, I saw that in theaters. That was
Yeah.
cool.
And like
then-
yeah, and like I'm starting to see like a different version of it in Marvel. And I'm a Warhammer person, which has to be one of the most toxic fandoms in the universe, Warhammer. You guys familiar with Warhammer?
The video
at
game,
all?
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Video like board game, tabletop game. And like that's gotta be like the most because that is like literally like has the most like vile racist people. And like I don't see that in Marvel, but I'm starting to see something new, which is like this obsessive fandom where it's like they treat the actors as if they're the actual characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 And like they'll like things about movies that are objectively not that good.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Like
It's happening with Stranger Things.
oh, I think
Oh, yeah, that's another one.
from day one now is Stranger Things.
Yeah. And every single thing that has like of course you have the niche fandoms that are like they do their own little thing on their corner of the internet, but like stuff like that they're pretty big
Yeah.
and they will hunt you down.
Well,
And
it's like
it's like this Stranger Things and Star Wars and the Warhammer, like they all have their own little thing, but like they're so passionate that if you say something, they'll come after you.
yeah. I think like one and like even like history nerds to a degree are like toxic fandoms.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
and
as a history minor, as somebody who loves history,
Yeah.
nobody should be a fan of history. It's bad.
Just
I'm
sounds
interested in it.
cringe.
I love to learn from it. It's awful, and you should never ever glorify the
Well,
past.
Tyler, I feel like there's two types of like movie history nerds. There's me and you who are like, yeah, 1917 is really cool. They showed the diversity of having soldiers with Sikhs. And then you have guys who are like, I like Gods and Generals because it depicts the Confederacy accurately. And you're like, oh, you watched a lot of History Channel and you think you're a historian.
Birth of a Nation was a technically well-made movie.
It is.
I'm getting really tired of hearing that line.
Mm.
Like I guess yes, it's a history. I mean, I don't even call it a history landmark. It's a history. He was the first guy to do it, but the people who did it right after. What's the movie? It's a Russian movie where they're on the knights. The Russian knights are fighting the Teutonic Knights.
Oh, I know exactly.
Is it Eisenstein?
Yeah, I think it's an Eisenstein movie.
Yeah,
It might be Alexander Nevsky.
Yes, I've seen it. And I remember I said, "What the hell was that like?" But I've actually seen that.
Mm-hmm.
And they have the whole battle on ice. That's a better movie than.
I think that was like 20 years after Birth of a Nation, though.
But still, things improved. Like,
yeah,
it's just because he did it first.
Yeah,
like
which is important.
Yeah, and back to what I was saying about fandoms. We're getting to this thing where like people have convinced themselves into a loop that they love everything. And like I said, the more niche because like TV shows really, I think TV is like where this exists more, especially like when you have like those AW shows and all that. Like have some diehard dedicated fans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of maybe it's just because I hate the show so much, but the Office fandom is
My god.
I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
I'm sick of The Office. Is anybody else there yet?
I
Yeah.
do very much enjoy that show, but I can go forever without somebody referencing it in every sentence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, like, listen, if I have no problem with people who are passionate about the things that they love that are involved in fandoms because they're they really love the things and they want to be in a community to talk about with other people about the things that they love and have that mutual connection over this thing. But sometimes y'all gotta tone it down.
And
I have not seen Rick and Morty, and the fandom is just one of the reasons
Oh,
oh
why.
my God,
Rick and
Rick and fucking Morty.
Again,
Let me
love
start
that
on these
show.
motherfuckers.
Love,
I can't deal with Rick and Morty people anymore. It's got to be the most annoying show. And you know what? I think I actually liked the first few episodes, but I have this weird like inner hipster in me that like as soon as people care too much about something, it makes me hate it. And like I have no problem. Like you know, it's a show that's like I that I don't hate that a lot of people like, but they're not overly obsessive about it. Is Letterkenny. Nobody's like obsessive about it. People quote it every now and then. But like Rick and Morty did this thing where it managed to annoy the shit out of me like within the first month of it existing.
Was it the ketchup thing? The ketchup incident?
Oh yeah, when they did that
The
sauce.
Szechuan.
Yeah,
the
that's
Szechuan sauce.
Yeah.
That was when season 3 was coming out, and they released the first episode a couple months before the rest of the season.
That was like the most obnoxious thing I think I've ever seen.
What was it?
I had a friend
What
who
was the
worked at McDonald's
controversy?
while that was happening.
Oh, no,
so bad.
I do not envy your friend.
He quit that week. He's like, "Fuck it, I'm going back to Taco Bell."
Dude.
Or I think he worked at Wendy's. But he's like, first dude to say Pickle Rick through the speaker. I walked up to my boss and said I quit.
Oh no!
But like that, so like that's also part of like this fandom thing where some fans think they're trolling by getting way too into it, but they themselves become what's being trolled. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Like they be like it's memeing has taken on this weird turn in life where people turn into the meme trying to meme on the meme.
Yeah.
It's like the inception of. I sound like the line from Tropic Thunder. I'm just a dude disguised as another dude, pretend to be another dude.
Yeah. At a certain point, it becomes very cringe.
Yeah. There's so many levels of like weird irony going on.
Mm-hmm. Some people just get lost in it.
Well, like,
yeah.
So we're
At
in,
a certain, like, of course you get it. Like, you can say that for ironic humor, but if you just keep doing it, then like, at what point is it not ironic anymore? You're actually just saying this.
Yeah, I don't know, but like, so the absolutely worst thing about like fandoms, in my opinion, too, is like they're getting to a point where like the creators of the stuffs actually are starting to hate making it.
Yeah.
So they, like,
oh yeah, I heard about that. Like I saw an
Game of
interview.
Thrones like really kind of got like where the creators said
Game
they're like I think the two guys said like yeah we want nothing more to do with Game of Thrones again.
I have never seen like a hyped up season 8 and like everyone's like, oh yes, this season's gonna be the best. It's gonna be the best. And then the finale happened. I hate everything. I hate it. I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah, like
I hate like
to completely remake the whole season, and it got millions of signatures.
Yeah, but like here's what annoyed me about that. Like, yes, the last season was not good.
Yeah,
it was not good.
That's an understatement.
But there was this weird effect where then automatically every season before that became terrible.
That's the part that I really bothers me.
Like I have
everyone jumped down D&D's throats so hard, but like they really screwed the pooch with the last 2 seasons. But that doesn't undermine the great work that they did for the first couple seasons. And like I think that, like the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones almost perfect for me. And like you can't just like I understand you're angry about the last season.
Battle of the Bastards.
Forget about why you love the show to begin with.
The Battle of the Bastards is one of the best cinematic like medieval battles, and it's on TV. Like that's gotta be like one of the
Absolutely.
And like now they're like, well, everything's wrong with this now. I also like I had a few history nerd friends say like Game of Thrones is so inaccurate. I'm like, really, your problems with the tactics of the Battle Bastards, not the fucking dragons or the witch that like made a demon come from her vagina. It was the dragons. It was the tactics not being real enough for you.
I have a weird.
Maybe it takes place in a fictional universe.
Yeah, I have a weird issue with Game of Thrones. Okay.
Yeah, what is it?
I'm not surprised, Jacob.
All the time, their teeth are always like crystal clean. it annoys the hell out of me. Like they're in this disgusting medieval world, and their teeth are always pearly white, and I'm like,
It's such a
when do
you
you have
thing.
time to brush your teeth?
That's such a you thing to be annoyed
I
about.
know it was like one of the first things I
Yeah.
noticed, and I was like, why is this bugging me?
That's
Like-
absolutely a valid thing.
Yeah, I know.
I thought about the same thing.
Do you guys remember when that movie Overlord came out?
Yeah. I
Oh, was
do.
that the zombie movie?
Yeah, I want to see that. It's in my queue still. I just haven't gotten to watching it.
Mhm.
And I remember like so many people were outraged by the idea that there was a black paratrooper. I'm like, there's fucking zombies. Like, and the black
Yeah.
paratrooper is what you're gonna hang on to.
I thought most people were just upset that like there was a Call of Duty game being made, or like they were like, oh, this movie looks bad because it's Call of Duty. Although I heard it got good reviews. I have no idea.
Yeah, it was like pretty good. No, there was like a weird minority of people, and like I follow like history focused like reviews and stuff. So I saw this like where people were like angry that there was a black paratrooper. And like, you know, it happens in video games too. Like, remember when Battlefield 1 had like a campaign story that let you play it as a woman?
Yeah,
Like-
didn't Battlefield 1
Yeah.
also like weren't there like you could play as a woman and like
Yeah,
people
there
were
was,
like,
like-
oh, it ruins the immersion. Yeah,
I'm
I
like-
didn't like that at all.
Yeah, and then Battlefield 5 came out and it was even worse.
Yeah, you could customize. And like, here's my I had a roommate. I'm not gonna name him, but he was like pretty uptight about this. When Battlefield 5 came out, he's like, you know, women and like you could choose your race and everything. I'm like, so, and he's like upset about the multiplayer for this. And I said, so let me get this straight. You're upset about a woman being in the game or a black person being in the game when you can take an airplane, fly above, shoot someone down, get out of it, shoot someone in another airplane with a pistol, land, get into tank, and then shoot down another airplane. Yeah, I see why that's unrealistic though. That there's like they're trying to look like,
Dude, imagine trying to represent other people that aren't white and men. Disgusting.
Yeah.
it's like I didn't know about this, but like somebody told me that like apparently people got outraged by the fact there was a Sikh soldier in 1917.
That's
Wasn't that a real thing though?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, there's but it said I was out. It was like my friend forwarded me the article, and it was like I was outraged by the idea that Sikhs and white soldiers would be fighting side by side in this transport truck, and it took me completely out of the movie.
What?
And like that's not you being like I'm just for the historic accuracy. That's just you being a racist motherfucker.
Yeah, if that makes you angry, then sorry, bud. I hate to break it to you. You might be a racist.
Yeah.
Isn't there also isn't that also historically accurate? Like weren't there
Yeah, like actually, like 1/5 of all the soldiers who died were from non-British, like
Yeah, because they were able to recruit like a bunch of
yeah,
people
they were
from
from the
India.
colonies.
Also, Indian soldiers were British soldiers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think like
guess who controlled India at the time?
Yeah, exactly.
and
That's
like
what
the
I said.
Battle of Gallipoli was pretty much all like non-British soldiers. It was like all Australians, Indians, and I think even Malaysians too.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
So
main concern. Like if you watched 1917 and that's the only thing that really made you
Yeah.
mad.
so I'm gonna let Jacob bring in
Yeah.
a topic now. Jacob, you want to unleash like a bad
Sure.
motherfucker?
So
Yeah. Let's hear it.
so something that bugs me, I guess, and this is from a while ago, but do you guys remember the whole like Martin Scorsese argument where he was like, I watch Marvel movies and they're like roller coasters. I don't really care.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
And people
Which-
were like outraged that like, oh, he doesn't consider Marvel movies art. Oh, he's such a stuck-up guy.
Yeah.
And not so much concerning that argument, but I want to talk a bit about like how I guess this would actually be against Scorsese, but the argument that like the audience defines what art is. Because I see this
Yeah.
happening a lot, especially with like older people, where like they'll watch a movie and they'll go like, it's not really art. Like I don't consider action movies art or like mainstream movies art because they're too focused on entertainment and not enough on artistry.
Mhm.
But I think that's kind of I don't know. I think it's disrespectful to the filmmaker because
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know
no.
if you guys would agree with this, but I think it's up to the filmmaker whether or not something is
Yeah.
art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if I create something and I say, "Hey, this is my art," like it's not your right to say, "Oh, it's not." I don't think that's art. I think you can say that it's not good art, but
I'm not crazy about the Marvel films, but I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
they're in my opinion, all things made in movie, it's moving art. And like I don't like abstract paintings, but I acknowledge their art.
yeah, exactly. And
No.
I think that there is a case that can be made for some of them. Like I think the James Gunn movies have a lot of personality
Yeah.
to them, and
Yeah,
especially the second
Yeah.
Guardians movie is like very focused on like
Did he do
fatherhood,
Ant-Man
and it
too?
feels personal.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Did he do Ant-Man too?
No.
No, I think Edgar Wright was supposed to do it, but he
Oh,
dropped
yeah.
out.
I don't remember.
No,
I
yeah.
don't remember who took over for Edgar Wright.
Okay,
I don't
all right.
remember who did the Ant-Man
No,
movies. But
Yeah.
All right. Yeah,
I like the Ant-Man movies.
Yeah, no,
Those are like my favorite.
Yeah, no. I have one thing to say. Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think that's a good movie. Everyone's like, this movie sucks. I'm just like,
Oh, I thought that was like the best
yeah,
of
no.
the.
I liked it. I liked. I
it's
don't.
a fun MacGuffin movie.
Yeah, it's a fun MacGuffin movie.
Yeah.
Like, don't take it so.
nothing wrong with it.
Yeah,
I-
nothing.
And like also Jake, can I be honest with you? I feel like Scorsese like purposely did that to draw more attention.
Well,
to
no,
himself.
actually, I don't. He even went back and said like, "Oh, I didn't mean like Marvel movies aren't art. I mean, I just don't care to watch them because I prefer more
he just said
personal
they're not
movies,
green.
which is
Yeah, like,
perfectly acceptable. I
how
hold nothing
old- can
against.
someone look up
what
how old
Francis Ford
Scorsese is?
Coppola said was just
He-
like,
Okay, well, I'm looking it up.
Oh yeah, Coppola was like an ass about it. I hated what Coppola said because he was like, "Oh no."
Yeah, he said they're despicable.
Especially Coppola, who hasn't made a good movie since like 1992. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Well,
But,
it's
like I half agree with Martin Scorsese's statement. Like, yeah, they are definitely more entertainment focused. But
Yeah.
McLean's 77.
Yeah.
He's 77.
okay.
they
So
have
Scorsese's he's also an older guy. He probably isn't gonna get
there's-
like a lot.
yeah,
of
I
why would a
don't
guy like
expect-
Scorsese be watching Marvel movies and
Yeah. What
Yeah.
part of Endgame do you think Marvel Scorsese would be just in love with what was going on? Was it the part when Hulk was like flossing? I don't.
Wait, that actually happens in the movie. I haven't seen that movie.
Yeah, no, that happens.
Hulk at the diner.
Oh, no, he
Yeah,
dabs.
he,
That's
yeah,
right,
he
he
dabs. He
And he's
dabs.
just like, he takes a selfie with them. He's just like,
We
Dad.
live in the worst timeline. I just want to have
And then
that said.
Thor
We
plays
live.
Fortnite.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
live in the worst
Fortnite.
timeline. How
But-
long? Bets down. How long till there's a Fortnite movie? I want bets.
2023.
5 years.
2022.
Only because of coronavirus. I feel like
Yeah.
it was in production, then it was put off. And then
I
it's gonna
say
come
in
back.
2021 we'll see a trailer. If there's no more
that's a good,
coronavirus.
that's
by
a
then.
good guess. No.
Oh yeah. I have one thing to say about. I have one thing to say about the Star Wars movie. I know they're not this tight. I know they're not superheroes movies. You have to be honest. They're kind of like a superhero movie.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
the
Okay.
same
Yeah.
vein.
Yeah.
You
I
have,
see, yeah,
like,
okay.
Jedi wizard. The Jedi
Yeah.
are just like wizards who are like swinging at each other with giant magical light sticks.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
What I was getting at with Scorsese is like, yeah, they are more theme park attractions, but each film, like you're kind of it's wrong to like undervalue the actual like good writing that happens in those films. Like I think Captain America and Iron Man's arcs are done incredibly well. It's
Mhm.
just a problem with that is those arcs are just told over like 23 films.
Yeah.
And imagine trying to get somebody to watch all the films to just get the whole
Yeah.
story. You're missing a whole
Yeah.
chunk of storytelling by not watching every single one of them. So it's super hard. It like the MCU has such a high barrier to entry.
Yeah.
It's super hard for people to get that experience. But at the same time, I'm just like, yeah, it's
There's a guy.
fun and games for the most part.
There's a guy on YouTube, and he basically took like his brother out to see Endgame, and it's like the first Marvel movie he's
Oh, I
seen.
watched that.
Yeah. Oh, and it was funny. It was like, and he had no idea what was going on.
He was like, yeah, that was cool. I don't
It's
know
a
Yeah,
weird
I
movie
went
to
to
drop
go-
in on.
Yeah.
I went to go see the last Spider-Man movie they made without any context of seeing like anything beyond Civil War, and
Oh,
I was
yeah.
a little lost. Like I was like, okay, who the fuck's this?
Mhm.
What's
Yeah.
going on?
Well, like,
Where
yeah,
am I?
Mysterio's here, but why is Peter Parker crying about Tony Stark?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like
it's-
I didn't
what
realize
happened?
he was dead until I saw that movie. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
he's
It's
dead.
like popping in on a TV show. I think like midway through a season. You know, it's kind
Yeah,
of
it's like basically just one big season, and
It's like if you started Game of Thrones from season 8.
yeah. It's
What's
they're more-
going on here?
Yeah, Marvel movies are more like a TV show now that I think about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
They are just really long episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now they're doing a bunch of TV show spin-offs.
Yeah.
Oh, and those are also canon within the universe, so you have to watch all of those TV
Yeah.
shows because those TV shows are important to the films. So
no,
they're going
like-
to like make a film and then like
I
wait,
want
what's
the
that?
Punisher
Oh, you gotta
back.
watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier to understand that reference.
I
Yeah.
want to see the Punisher again. I want him like, and you know,
Oh yeah, I heard.
I know.
Speaking about like just getting information to watch the shows, I've heard the Rise of Skywalker basically took so much of the information from comic books, and
Makes
basically half of the stuff are from the comics.
Yeah, that's the biggest complaint I have about the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
So there's so much information that's like, there's so much things that they build up in the movie that get no resolution, and you're just like, oh, read the visual dictionary.
Yeah, you got to read that.
Yeah.
Scroll through J.J. Abrams' Twitter from December 29th.
You shouldn't have to put research into watching a blockbuster movie.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like
that's a
this.
great point.
There's a plot line in the movie where Finn is just like, hey, Ray, I got to tell you something. But you don't find out what Finn
Yeah,
wants to
you
tell Ray the
don't.
entire
Yeah.
time.
I haven't seen
Yeah.
this. I haven't
And then
seen.
in an interview, they're like, oh, yeah, Finn was just trying to tell Ray that he was force sensitive. And I'm like,
Yeah.
why didn't you just say that?
Yeah, like why?
Okay, so this made me think of something, but like, so also like, you know, I said like I want the Punisher back, and I understand the Punisher's like under fire right now because of, you know, we're still amidst I don't want to say Kavanch. We're amidst the time where police are being jackasses widely,
Yeah.
and they've like co-opted the Punisher symbol as their symbol. But I like the Punisher because I think the Punisher's the story of a villain.
Yeah. Did you see how the original creator of Punisher was reappropriating the logo?
Yeah, I like that.
Black Lives Matter merch.
I'm trying to. Yeah, I liked how he did that.
Yeah.
And of course, like in my Facebook, when I saw that, there was 30 feeds. It says, "What does he know?"
Yeah.
Like, well, he created it. He's kind of like the god of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, what does the creator of the fucking character know about the character?
He does know what it means to be us, protecting and serving everybody. We're the sheepdogs to the wolves. Or we're the sheepdog to.
Shut up. Blue lives don't exist. It's a job.
Yeah, you ain't born blue, bro. Like, yeah, like, you know, it's like if I was like a farmer and I was going like, I didn't choose to be a farmer. I chose to be a farmer. We moved to a farm. I started my life out in the suburbs and we moved here. I didn't choose to be a film nerd. Yeah, I did. I make a podcast about it now.
But I didn't watch the Punisher Netflix series.
It's actually pretty good.
But his
Brenthal.
appearance in season 2 of Daredevil was great.
Yeah, John Brenthal is like the best portrayal of him on film.
Because that's such a great portrayal of a tragic character that's just driven to such extremes because of injustice that was dealt to him.
Yeah.
And that was such a
Tyler,
great
do you want to go with the topic?
Okay, so one topic that I have. Hold on, let me pull up my list because
Oh boy. This motherfucker.
I have a whole list of.
Oh my god.
Be upset.
We're gonna be doing other rant casts like in the future. Like I think I'm gonna do like every 5 episodes or so.
Nice.
So hold on to that list.
Yeah, hold on to the
Okay.
list.
Let's see. Actor worship.
Oh my god. Okay. Thank you. This is kind of like where my John Krasinski thing was gonna go. So, actor worship. Who do you want to start with this? Because I'm
talking more about how people hold actors to such a high esteem, and then they get like surprised when they turn out to be problematic.
mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
the most recent one I can think of is what happened with Ansel Elgort.
Who's that?
What'd
which
he do?
Was
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I heard about
Who's that? Somebody tell me who this is.
Baby
he's
Driver.
the
Kingsman or Baby
he's the
Driver?
He's Baby Driver.
Baby
Okay.
Driver, that's right.
He
I
got
don't know
Me
any
Too'd
actors by
hard.
their real names.
He
You got
Me
what?
Too'd- He got Me Too'd hard.
Oh.
Yeah,
What'd
he
he do?
got yeah.
Bad. I don't need to go into details
Wait,
about
wait,
sexual assault.
wait,
but
wait,
it
wait.
was-
Wait, Tyler. Did he deny it?
Probably, but
Yeah. I don't think
Oh, okay.
anybody's.
who's gonna trust him?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's true. Yeah.
But either way, like everyone holds. First of all, actors, like I so appreciate the work that they do, and I know it's incredibly difficult. It's not an easy job, but actors are only a fraction of what actually goes into making a film. And when people are watching a film, they're not thinking about any of the actual filmmaking. They're just like, oh, Chris Evans, look at it, look.
Yeah.
And they like the whole. I have a whole problem with celebrity culture in general, and actors are part of it, where people hold people that they don't even know, that they've never met. They just recognize their faces because they're in so much stuff to such a high standard to society. When in reality, actors, they may be rich, they may be famous, they're also just people. And you don't know this person. You don't have a read for their personality because you don't know what they're like outside of being on camera, but you still look at them as if they're gods.
Yeah. You know who is like one of
The
those...
only actor I would trust if I was in a room would be Hugh Jackman.
You know who I think is like one of those actors that like has like a huge group of people that worship them, and then like it's now profited off of that is Gwyneth Paltrow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What a
Yeah.
weird
It's-
turn her
it's an-
career has taken.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she's a grifter. Like, can we agree on that? Like, she's created a grift and she's rolling with it. And
And now she has her own cult.
I have a friend who she doesn't like Gwyneth Paltrow, but she likes being involved in that world just to know what's going on. And she said, so Gwyneth Paltrow apparently has like scandal scented like
Oh,
I don't even want to.
Oh,
Yeah.
her vagina candles?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she's like, how do you get to a point where you can make money off of selling? Like, that's like shit you
It's
would
like
see
gamer
as a
girl
joke.
bathwater.
Oh. Oh. Yeah. Wait, that might not be a. Yeah. There's a large group of people bought that. Like,
That's sold out instantly, I think.
It's the same thing.
yeah. God, I forgot that happened. God.
That's funny though.
We do live in the worst timeline.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, another
Not
actor,
the worst. We live in the dumbest.
another actor. No, not actor, but famous person that has taken a turn is the Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling.
Oh yeah, hers
Oh,
is
yeah.
hers is more
That was
recent.
bad.
Yeah, that was
And like I like
That's
how
another
like
problem. That's part of the problem. Like I understand that you love the things that these people are involved with, but don't think of them as anything other than just people, because they're just going to be as problematic, or maybe they're as good as you think they are. I don't know, but you don't know these people.
yeah, and like here's the thing, like I think there's like the people in their brains are like, I don't get it. I like this thing they made, but like they're not the great person I think they should be. And like in their brain they're like, well, I have to defend them now clearly. And like
Right.
J.K.
Like,
Rowling's the one where I see like the fans like their brains because J.K. Rowling's been like fairly
I
like
think Harry Potter fans have had a fucking they've had enough of J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah.
and like now's where the last group of them were like, we can't do it anymore. We can't do it.
Yeah,
Let's stop this bitch.
I don't know if any of you guys read the statement that Daniel Radcliffe made about J.K. Rowling's comments, but it was incredibly well done, and everyone was like, you know what? My new canon is Daniel Radcliffe wrote the Harry Potter. She has become like the antithesis of everything she wrote about in the Harry Potter books. Like everything that she would claim was bad in the Harry Potter books, that's like that's what she is.
Yeah, and like she's always kind of apparently been like this too, because like I saw people unearthing art like older stuff where she said similar stuff about like trans people along the same lines, and it's like now it was made to a point where like people couldn't ignore it, and that's Ethan.
It's the same thing that happened with like Ansel Elgort recently, like because like I saw people or just like she should have been lucky because he's attractive. Like he's lucky to be sexually assaulted by him.
That's like Dave Chappelle
Who
made
the
a
fuck
joke.
says that?
Dave Chappelle made a joke like that in Sticks and Stones, where he's like, "Oh, a kid's getting diddled by Michael Jackson. They should be lucky." And like he said it as a joke. People are saying that seriously. That's fucked up.
So I have to say, like, I'm a Civil War nerd, which is like the most toxic part of history to be involved in.
Where the Confederate fandom's the worst.
Especially right now,
The Confederate fandom. I've seen people kind of say what Tyler said about sex. Okay, I'll address that in a moment. I've seen people say what Tyler just said about Ansel stupid name or whatever. I don't know. Fuck his
Ansel
name.
Yogurt.
Ansel Yogurt. That's his name. That's his actual name. Ansel Yogurt. And what they said about him about slavery. Yeah. Because
Okay.
there is like this weird Confederate fandom. And like, if you want to know what I mean, I know people from the South where they have reenactment battles of like famous battles where the Confederacy got fucking owned, but they win this time.
What if?
What? Yeah, what?
Yeah, there's like
Brought to you by Disney Plus. Marvel, the Marvel new show, What If? Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll drop. Ethan, you have a topic you want to rant about on the Rantcast?
This is actually something I've learned just recently is because I am, well, ever since quarantine coronavirus, I've been into anime, and I've just watched so much.
Good for you.
I've been watching so much anime, and I love it. But yeah, no, it's amazing. I could go on and on about it. But the one thing I've heard about the controversy of the anime club, the fandom, is dubbing versus subbing, and apparently there's some people out there that are like, if you like dubbing,
that's another whole debate.
yeah, if you like dubbing, then you suck. You are terrible.
Well, yeah. So that's funny because that kind of like the same happens with like I like some foreign movies, particularly.
Yeah.
Like Tyler and I, and maybe one of us are gonna watch a Russian movie for next week's podcast.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much gonna be all subtitles because I can't find a version of it that's
Nice.
dubbed. But I like sometimes like, and I don't know because animation is I don't really see this much in animation. Like I'm fine with like if it would be subbed in animation because you can't really tell what they're saying. But in like movies, it bothers me if I hear clearly not someone's voice. Like one time just for
Godzilla.
Yeah. No, like I've seen so many anime dubbed, and I'm like, it might be off by like maybe half a second. I really can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
It's just the quality of the voice acting.
Yeah,
So much better, and typically in Japanese animation, like the Japanese voice actors are just so much more. I guess because it's more their elements and more relevant to them. Like they're so much more passionate about like their characters, and they bring so much more to their performance in general. I can't like there are incredibly talented English voice actors, but across the board, typically the Japanese voice actors are going to be doing a better job with Japanese animation.
Well, yeah, and it's always going to be different. Like every actor is going to bring something different to the role. I think when it works is when you bring in the original creator to do the dubbing. Like I know Miyazaki dubs all of his own movies. Like he brings in the actors, he directs them for the English translation. So usually you get a good performance out of that, or something very similar to the Japanese version. But yeah, for some anime, I guess I can see that. Yeah.
I like my favorite thing though about like sub things is especially like German films or like Russian films. There'll be a scene where like one guy says, like it's a sentence long and it's like, hey, how are you?
Yeah, right.
Especially in German. It's like that was like 10 minutes for him to say, and it's just, hey, how are you?
Well, yeah, some of the subtitling is sometimes wrong or simplified. So you have to be aware of that as well.
But like, in the case of German, German's a language where words are like so fucking long they shouldn't be legal.
Oh, yes.
Like the subtitles are right, but it's German.
Yeah.
Even something as simple as goodbye in German, you're gonna be like Auf Wiedersehen.
Das Wiedersehen. That's Django Unchained. That just made me think of that. I need to watch it. Well, that's one of the best movies, especially when he shoots the clan scene where they like get fucking blown up, and he says, "Zvis," and I love that movie.
Yeah, he's great at it.
Yeah. So my next topic is bets on how long it takes for the first indie film about quarantine to come out.
It's not going to be an indie film. It's going to be an HBO series. That's
right.
5 parts.
It's going to be an HBO series with Lena Dunham as the star. Yeah. It's just also bringing people who are in the Me Too movement.
Well,
Hers was the most fucked up, like one of the most fucked up bizarre of, like they were all fucked up, but hers was one of the most bizarre in the Me Too movement.
Yeah. There's also the issue of like nobody's making movies right now, or it's very hard to. Like
Yeah.
A lot of movies are stalled because there's new rules for like what you can do with the actors and
Yeah.
stuff.
But
I don't think we're gonna see like movies made like we know them until there's a vaccine.
Yeah.
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 But
I
I
think-
guarantee in quarantine, thousands of screenwriters were writing scripts on their computers.
It's all I do. And like unfortunately my brain's going into this place where I had a film that was just supposed to be this fun action comedy where it's over the top, and now it's become like a social political commentary.
Everything, like, I feel like the scripts that are being written right now, whether they be about COVID and whatever's going on right now, or just something else, I feel like you're just going to be seeing a much darker tone.
So here's my thoughts on what are going to be like the 4 topics to come out of this: horniness, loneliness, politics, and the last one is boredom. Those will be like the 4 big topics I predict.
Yeah. It's just there's such an overwhelmingly negative attitude surrounding this year in particular that I feel like a lot of that negativity is going to come through.
Oh, I've like
with film.
I
think we're gonna see like a new like movement. Coming up soon.
I feel like we're also gonna, like I've started to see some of that in like indie games that have managed to come out. Like there was one game I saw tonight called Tonight We Riot, which is like it was built by like a collective group of socialist programmers. So you could guess what the game's about. I actually suggest checking out. It's a really cool like style of indie games. But like I see the tone that like, oh, so this is where we're gonna go in entertainment. And honestly, I have the feeling that like it's just we're gonna be in a dark place because 2020 has been a rough year. Like even before coronavirus, we almost went to war.
Yeah,
there was that. There was like the Australian fires. There
was locusts in Africa.
Right. Didn't it snow in the Sahara at one point?
Yeah. I think that was 2019 still.
Was that?
Really, nothing has gone right.
That wasn't so bad.
I understand there's people who are also just having a bad year on top of this. Like me, for example, I've been to hospital twice. I broke my leg. I've had 2 surgeries. I have a 3rd one coming up.
Yeah.
So like some people just like for normal days, this year would have sucked just without any of this. Then you're adding on the fact everybody's lonely, everybody's depressed, and now like everything's going to shit because our cops are being jerks.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, they've always been jerks, but now we're finally calling them out on it.
Yeah.
Well, and like they're doubling down. That's the scary thing is like a lot of them are doubling down. Like you'd think like, oh, maybe I should have a change of heart. No, doubling down on fascism and racism.
I think you also have to be aware of like the new wave of filmmakers that are gonna start coming up. Like we're seeing this in music now a lot. Like as a lot of like Zoomers enter the music industry, we're gonna see a lot of Zoomers enter the film industry, and with that, movies I think are gonna get sillier. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that's going to mean.
I have to be honest. I don't like what I'm seeing from my own generation because I guess I'm Gen Z. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We are Gen Z.
Yeah. I don't really like a lot like what I'm seeing in terms of entertainment.
Yeah.
I've seen so many tweets about like our generation. They were like, we have our generation's got no problem just running up to a cop and calling him a pig in front of his face, but they'll be afraid to call the doctor and make an appointment by themselves.
Yeah, well, and also I feel like it's this weird thing where like we're so used to strife or like struggle or darkness around us that it doesn't really make anything because like some of the best films in my opinion came from guys who like survived World War II. Like Come and See was written by 2 guys who survived the 2 worst parts of the war, and it's one of the most, I don't know, I want to say beautiful. Jacob, do you have a verb to describe Come and See?
I still might see that.
Visceral, yes. One of the most visceral films I've ever seen, and certainly the most unique. And like I think that's what creates like good movies is like usually, or like good art is like when there's been one particular moment of like real downfall. But we've been in a constant moment of downfall.
Right. Like if you look back at all those like huge movements through cinema history, a lot of those movements have come as a response of tragedy, and I'm not advocating for tragedy, and like it's a good thing that this happened because that means that nothing bad's been going on. I mean, there's been bad things going on, but nothing like catastrophic has been going on.
Yeah.
But like especially like coming out of World War II, like in Italy when you had like the Italian neorealism, that was like as responses of how awful it
That's
was
a
in
good
Italy.
example.
Or post Vietnam filmmaking was
Vietnam,
probably
Yeah.
I
Vietnam,
think
like these are all
a
awful things
big
that people experience, but like the film industry's become like complacent because everyone's just been sitting on their high horses for so long. Like now we're hitting that downfall again, and now that we've experienced such like catastrophic twists in our life, we're going to be seeing a lot new different takes on filmmaking
like
coming from this
almost all college students will be going into debt. So like think about that. Like we have a vast majority of the population that starts like their real adult life in debt. We have like a vast majority of them who are going to have trouble looking for work. And then you get into the people who have just dealt with systemic bullshit. You have women who've been dealing with the systemic bullshit of our society for decades and decades and decades. Yeah.
We live in a society.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
all right, so I'm gonna move us on, and actually, we're gonna double down on the political shit.
Oh boy.
Pandering politics in movies. Jake, I think you and I have talked about this in passing.
Yeah, I don't mind politics in movies as long as it's like honest to the filmmaker.
That's what I'm talking
works
about.
within the plot.
When it's pandering, though, like when it's just politics.
Well, yeah, give me an example so I can understand it better.
Not really with movies, but with TV, it feels like this happens a lot. Where like some event will happen, so then they do the episode about this, so like they feel better about themselves. Like for example. Or like TV shows made to parody, like, okay, Space Force. Do you think that would be made if it wasn't for the current president?
Yeah.
I feel like it was made as a direct response to it, and that's where the comedy should have come from, but it just fell flat.
Yeah,
it's a funny premise because the idea of a Space Force is super ridiculous, and you could have so much fun with the comedic presence like that. It just wasn't that funny.
Yeah,
and and also, go ahead, Ethan.
I think one good political movie is Zootopia.
Zootopia,
I think that's it's a political movie. It is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think they did a nice job.
I haven't seen it, but I guess I'd acknowledge that. Yeah, I mean, I guess what I want to say, my problem comes from, and like it's funny, like I was thinking about, it's more or less like individual celebrities who try to do this. Like I always get like really annoyed when a celebrity saying, "Hey, to all my fans, you guys need to do something about this. Donate to this." I'm like, aren't you the millionaire here?
Yeah, this reminds me when they all did the stupid Imagine shit.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Don't get me fucking started. And they
did things that happened in 2020. I think we can all agree that was the worst.
And I'll even say on a personal level, that was the worst thing that happened to me. And my leg and I started this year with my leg facing the wrong direction.
Yeah.
But when it comes to politics in movies, I hate the worst thing that people say is I hate when people confuse politics with representation.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a big thing.
Having representation of underrepresented groups is not political. Nobody is gay because the Democrats told them to be gay. Gay people exist. Fucking deal with it. If they're in a movie, that's not a problem with the movie. That's not the movie getting political. That's just the movie having a character that's based on real things.
Yeah, I remember reading an article once, or not an article, a review that was like, "Oh, I didn't like The Martian because there were too much forced diversity. They had like so many black people." What? Yeah, I know.
The NASA science program, guess what? It's a pretty diverse fucking program because they take people from all over the fucking world and send them into space.
Well, yeah, and it's also like
black people exist.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what, motherfucker? There's Latino people serving in the Air Force, and they might end up flying fucking spaceships. I'm getting really worked up about this.
Political because it's brown people. The movie's political when it's talking about politics, when it's talking about things that are representative issues.
Yeah. And we
Like,
talked
if
about
you don't
this on.
like when games or movies get political, then why do you watch movies or play games? Do you want mindless entertainment? Do you want nothing to just like your eyes to just have like visual stimulus and not think about it at all? Or do you
Yeah.
just not want to be intellectually challenged? You want nothing to like ever like make an impression on you. You just want to stick in your same little dumbass bubble and be the same little dumbass person you will be for all time.
Yeah, and I think it's I think that's also like the Ghostbusters remake. Like nobody dislikes that. I mean, most people don't dislike that movie because they cast women. Most people dislike it because, like, I think most people agree.
I
Like,
thought it
one of
wasn't
the
funny.
better things, like, it's fine that they recast as women.
Yeah,
They did
no, yeah.
something with Ocean's 8. Like, no one gives a shit. Like, if you want to do it, do it. You're
Yeah, no, yeah.
still gonna suck, but like, sure, go ahead. I guess that's a good thing for diversity, right? Not for the film itself, but for diversity. Like, I don't think anyone would hold that against it, or should, I should say.
And also, just to be annoyed with my own party, I get really annoyed when people say, well, this movie, like, and talking about old movies where they'll be like, yeah, this movie might have been woke for the time, but it's no longer woke because we've now and I saw this with Alien, and that really bothered me. They said,
Alien?
yeah, they said because the fact Ridley was written as a man, she therefore is not a feminist movie icon.
Wait, what? Was she
I-
originally
I-
a man in like an earlier version?
In
of
an
the
earlier script, she was supposed to be a man.
script? Okay.
Huh.
Yeah.
What?
And-
I don't see anything wrong with that. Like, what?
I have this.
The film is a decision. If you
Yeah.
change your mind and make a different decision on where you want to go with the character, that doesn't like me.
I hate. You know what I hate? I hate it when people get obsessed with diversity in film. Like, it's a good thing for diversity. It's not specifically a good thing for the film. Like, just because your film is more diverse doesn't make it a better film. It's a good thing. You do want to diversify your film, obviously, because like people need jobs. But like inherently, there's no artistic value to diversifying your cast. You know,
Yeah.
like
I-
it is.
so
it is
I
kind
wanna
of a
say, like,
construct.
I write all my movies with the idea even a fucking banana could play the role usually. Like I don't write with the idea that somebody's looking for like that one race or sex can play this character. I think my characters are fairly interchangeable.
A lot of my characters they're usually going to be kind of like unisex characters.
Yeah.
Usually, you write yourself. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like let's face it, we've all probably inserted ourselves into the situation of our characters.
Oh yeah.
And the other thing I want to say too is though, on the other hand, though, there's some stuff that like I know, and I don't even want to dive because I even hate like this part of history nerds. There's some stuff where it's gonna. If you're writing a Civil War movie, there were black divisions, but they were all black, so you'd have a screenplay about all black division, and then majority it's gonna be a bunch of white dudes, or you can take like a fictional route and just say it's a fictional story and do whatever you want with it. I have no problem with that.
I hate it when. Okay, let's say. All right. What's one good? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Dude. All right. So I know. Frozen. I'll say Frozen. So Elsa, the lead one, and so she's she's a good character, but then everybody once the movie was done was like, oh, she is a great representation of LGBT, and I'm like there really was no like.
Oh yeah, when like
people like pushed that idea onto the character, even if it wasn't stated in the film.
Like why is everyone pretending that Disney supports LGBTQ? Like they
used
don't
to have
actually.
They used to have some stringent rules against like any like.
Yeah, no, they're like one of the most like homophobic companies I can think of.
That being said, Disney, I'd love a job if like like you guys have made progress since then, and we appreciate that, and I would love a job.
I didn't see Frozen 2. I don't know if they explore that more in the second film.
I've seen it. They don't. They really don't.
Okay, then
but
like at least in the first film, like people like just like. If they wanted to go that route with Elsa, I'd have no problem with it. But from what I saw in the film, maybe I'm remembering it incorrectly. That's just something that the fandom kind of just like pushed onto the character.
Yeah. Tyler, I'm sorry. I want to. I'm gonna annoy you for a second here. Is anybody here aware of who Jordan Peterson is?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Okay, so he's a racist hermit. He sounds like what?
I've seen him on podcasts. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's a racist hermit the frog. And like he was
Isn't
only
he a
known for
psychologist?
what? No,
Oh,
he's
psychologist.
fucking full of shit. No, he's not
Oh.
even a psychologist. He pretends to be. I think he's like a philosophy professor. I might be wrong, but he pretends to be an expert on all these different fields when he's really not. I think he's like a philosophy. And like he only got big because like he said, I refuse to call trans people by the pronouns they prefer, which is like, fuck you, man. You're just being a dickhead to be a dickhead. And like I remember he like, and I listened to a lot of leftist stuff, and like one of them was talking about this, like, yeah, apparently he really hates Frozen because he's like, I don't like the idea that it doesn't go by the traditional arcs that females and males should be in society. And I'm trying to do his voice, but I can't do it because I don't sound like Hermit the fucking Frog.
Yeah.
I don't like when women have men.
Tyler, you do a really good version.
How do you know, everybody?
Okay, yes.
Men occupy different roles in society.
Yeah. And like another way of these like right wing guys who like hates like modern media is like Ben Shapiro, who's like you know, the guy sounds like he teabagged a mousetrap. Is like always
film wants to represent a people that is underrepresented. Now, think about that from a different angle.
And like how like all modern TV shows impure relationships.
Usually when people focus just on the politics of a film, they don't enjoy most good films because art is usually about pushing the boundaries and challenging the audience.
Well, it's like
so it's like you're probably just gonna like some dumb action movies. Like I don't.
You know why there's no like really fun
guy that messaged James Gunn about how like, hey, cool movie and all, but Guardians of the Galaxy 2 fucking sucks because like you have gay representation and like you cast black people. Why don't you take politics out of your movies? Watch something like Watchmen, V for Vendetta, and Batman v Superman.
Oh,
yo,
that's like that's like the okay.
Bad take.
I don't like Watchmen. I don't like V for Vendetta, and I really don't like Batman v Superman. Like,
but, maybe those are, you know, the most political. But like the movies, maybe less so, but the graphic novels at least.
Isn't V for Vendetta an anti-fascist film?
Yeah. It's an anarchy movie. It's like a movie that's 100% V for Vendetta is a movie about a guy who blows up Parliament.
Yeah.
And like I'm a huge fan of Watchmen, the graphic novel and the HBO series, and it's the most political fucking like piece of entertainment that I've ever consumed.
I don't like the Watchmen movie. I don't know. I've never been like that grittier than grit.
No, the Watchmen movie is like kind of ass. Like I watched like super extended like director's cut whatever for like that was the first exposure I had to the movie, and it was pretty good, but the graphic novel is just better.
And like I feel like that created one of the like worst obsessive fans with the character was people who liked Rorschach.
Rorschach was not meant to be liked.
And a weird amount of people liked him.
I got it right here.
Yeah.
I have it on deck.
Nice.
So I have another topic, and I guess, I don't know, if we might get one or two more in. But like, how about Jacob? I want to hear another one from you if you got it.
Oh, I only came prepared with the Scorsese
Okay, Tyler,
one.
and you.
All right, let's consult the handy dandy list again.
The list.
I also want to say, like, go on like a little bit of a tangent here. As far as I see it, like I said, I like the original Red Dawn, and I said I'd probably get in a screaming match with the director about politics.
Mm-hmm.
But like, even like if you have a heart behind something, it can be good as long as it's not like downright like fascist propaganda.
An example would be like Oliver Stone. I don't know what is he conservative? I have no idea, but he makes really good movies, and he does a good job like presenting his politics in a way that isn't like pushing them on you, but just like they make for compelling stories, and it's always like to make it more interesting.
Yeah.
So I think
Tyler, you got it yet?
A lot of these are like just like couple second topics about tropes. But one trope that I absolutely hate is love triangles. Love triangles drive me up the wall.
Love triangles.
Yikes.
I feel like that's like a classic. Like, what's the worst trope you can think of? Love triangles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's like such a hated trope. I don't even know if we could add anything new to the conversation.
Right. All right. So
I'm trying to think of a good love triangle. There's got to be a couple. I can't think of anything off the top of my head though.
We're blanking. Tyler, another subject.
New one. America or New York being the target of every bad thing ever in every movie.
Cool. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna add on that. America and New York being the target of every bad thing, and also America being the solution to every bad thing ever, or everything ever.
American
Especially
representation in films is so bad.
like
Yeah.
what's my favorite thing about 1917? It was a war movie, not about America.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
That's why I also really liked Dunkirk.
Yeah, Dunkirk,
is
yeah.
fine,
I'm like, yeah, Dunkirk about the British and French soldiers.
I would like,
More interesting.
unfortunately, the only movie about
New York specifically gets the brunt of
Yeah.
a lot of the attacks.
Yeah.
It's the most annoying thing ever.
Yeah.
I'm saying that not because I'm biased as a New Yorker, but how many times can I see the same setting in every single film and just gets blown up every time?
I want
Yeah,
to see.
it's always cool to
Godzilla
see
movie.
a movie in a different city. Like The Departed is really cool because it uses Boston really well, and it's a rare movie that like is about Boston,
That's what I was
right?
about to say about the new Godzilla King of Monsters. That like the only thing I really liked about that movie is because instead of New York, I got to see Boston get fucked up. For a change.
Yeah.
Here's what New Yorker. Take that, you fuckers! And there's one guy from Philly said, suck it, Brady.
Yeah.
On the border of. Yeah, it's funny. It's something special about even like in a movie you might not like a whole lot. It's something special about seeing your city represented in it. Like if it's
Yeah, it's like-
My city just gets blown up in every.
yeah, I kind of like it when I see Philly in movies. Like, yeah, it's not very frequent, but it happens occasionally.
Dude,
Rocky.
Yeah,
there's like
Dun, dun.
I'm from Queens specifically, and like there's like even in Spider-Man Far From Home when he does his shitty little vlog in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
There's a clip where he's on the highway and then he's like filming the Unisphere. And I used to work right back there. I'm like, oh fuck, I know where that is. I go, I
yeah.
work there. That's where my job is.
I like National Treasure, not because I think it's a good movie, because I said Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's a movie that uses its location very well.
Yeah, and
National Treasure. That was like a movie when it was so big when it came out, and now just like,
it's gone.
oh yeah, that's a movie. Yeah.
I feel like there's a ton of movies that even recently that like gone way to the wayside since they came out. Like, everybody's like, oh my god, can you believe this? And now it's like, oh yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
And like, ironically enough, most recently I could think of is like, we just talked about. I feel like The Irishman, for the vast majority of the population.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I
The
forgot
Irish.
about
That
existing.
was so hyped up.
Jake, I see the rage in your thoughts about me saying that, but I feel like
No, I don't mind.
for non-film people, especially.
No, yeah, of course. It's
definitely
a
falls
3.5 hour
It
movie.
was-
Most
yeah.
people, if they don't see it initially, are never going to see it.
Yeah, it was so
It's a
hyped
lot of
up
movie to
that everyone
remember.
was talking about it for the first couple weeks after it came out, but then
Yeah.
especially after Oscar seasons where it didn't really win anything, it was just people just forgot about it.
Yeah.
It's a shame because I adore The Irishman and
Yeah.
love almost like the whole thing, but
Well, I want to get what was everybody's favorite film of 2020
I like 1917.
2020.
or 2019?
My favorite film was Parasite.
Parasite was
1970.
awesome.
I really like
I have-
1917.
I have my 2019 ranked list on Letterboxd.
Right. Okay. Yes. I feel like I should start Letterbox.
Absolutely,
yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it.
So Tyler, do you have any other subjects we can crack into real quick here?
Okay.
But we're doing best of 2019.
I just wanted to ask that. We're done. We're done with that.
Oh, okay.
We're done with that.
Villains with no motivation. I hate Take Over the World plots.
What
Take
time
Over
to shine?
the World are
Mostly
my
every Marvel
least
villain.
favorite type of the reason why I have such a huge
I don't like Thanos.
But
Okay,
Thanos
but
has,
okay. All right,
Thanos
but
has
Thanos.
the motivation.
Yeah,
he
Thanos
has
had
a goal that he
motivation.
wants to accomplish.
Yeah.
Like, again, when I was talking about the Star Wars fandom and how most of the fandom hates most of the movies, I'm one of those people because I hate Palpatine because he has this whole ass plot to take over the galaxy. But for what? What does Palpatine actually want other than dark side?
Can we just
He
admit
doesn't
most
have
Star?
like an ideology that he wants to push. He doesn't believe anything. He's just like unlimited power.
Can we just admit most Star Wars fans really like Star Wars for the aesthetic, probably.
Yes,
And
100%.
that's
That's why everyone
why
liked it as a kid.
That I build models of Star Wars ships because it looks cool.
I get so deep into the lore and
Mhm.
everything, but like the movies, like yeah, Palpatine is an incredibly smart. I mean, he's kind of
Yeah.
dumb in the prequels. They make him look like he's smart because because of his political maneuvering and how he was able to play both sides and this and that. So
Yeah.
he's supposed to be like a genius. In reality, his plan's really stupid. But that's no fault of the character. It's just the fault of the movie being stupid.
What's your motivation? I'm evil.
Yeah, I have so much trouble getting into the Star Wars lore because the second you start digging into it, you realize how dumb this universe is. Like it collapses under the weight of like just the most essential logic, like gravity and space. Like like you can't even begin to try and rationalize most of that movie. You have to.
It's just
turn your
fantasy.
brain off in
Star
order
Wars
to fully
isn't
enjoy it.
sci-fi; it's fantasy.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I hate it when people go like crazy about into like all the details and stuff because it's like most of this was just accidental. Like the buttons of Darth Vader's suit were like
what kind of loser does something like that?
Fucking cares.
That's a dumb design choice. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Just so it's not just like a black thing. You just got to put some color on there so it like looks more interesting.
And also George Lucas based all of his footage off of World War II dogfights, and it looks more entertaining. Would you want to see the film where I heard about this? The most realistic space battle will look like 18th century naval warfare, which would
Star
be
Trek.
boring.
Star Trek does space battles a lot more accurately
but
than Star Wars. Or at least the original Star Trek. The new Star
Yeah.
Trek's is just Star Wars.
And they're not that interesting because it's a lot of stand for, launch torpedo.
I actually like the original Star Trek space battles. I think they're very tense. But yeah, obviously.
I have a goldfish brain.
Every time I come into my my family's living room, my mom is always watching Star Trek. And that's
the villains with no motivation thing, the villains with no motivation thing, I would like to also see a villain who isn't tried to be played as just another version of the hero.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like that's an annoying trope. And like Marvel, somebody pointed this out, every Marvel character is just a reskin of the villain. Like every Marvel villain is just a reskin of the hero. And like they did that
some of them are done well, some of them aren't. Like I think Killmonger is a fantastic example of that trope done incredibly well.
Yeah.
But then you get he also Jacket and Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
Killmonger also has like a really kind of interesting approach to his like view on things. He's not just like I want to do things slightly different. He's like, oh, he's going full out on what he wants to.
Yeah, and like it wasn't just like one and done thing. Like all right, movie's over, move on. Like he actually had an impact on the protagonist, and the protagonist changed as a result of it.
Yeah.
And so again, I think Killmonger is a fantastic approach to that trope. But then there's so many other examples that it just totally falls flat.
Yeah. So this made me think of a topic I wanted to bring up regarding at least a lot of movies that we know and like. Movies that don't age well. Does anybody have like one of those for them that like is a movie they thought they liked? Because for me, it was a movie that like I liked when I was younger and then don't like when I brought it onto this podcast was Red Dawn. Like, I don't even want to say it didn't age well. It's just I have like memories of thinking that was better than it actually was.
Yeah.
Most movies like I feel like especially in like the late 90s and early 2000s where CGI is starting to pick up heavily.
Yeah.
Where those special effects age so poorly.
We talked to like even cast
from the 50s age better than the movies in the 90s.
Yes, because there was a lot more practical effects.
Well, practical effects always age better.
Like I think the original Star Wars trilogy aged a lot better than the prequels trilogy.
Yeah.
I can't wait till like the day like I like have a family and like I'm like here this movie that we're gonna watch Elysium. This was a classic and it looks like dog shit because like everything looks so good at that point because this is like 30 years from now. I'm like, oh, this is dog shit. Yeah, I'm sorry,
but I mean, there's the difference between like movies like aging visually poorly, but still maintaining a good story, or just story that's so of its time that nobody could understand it now, or they're kind of just egregious because like they're product of their time and just have these
Yeah. Like
horrible-
Certain films get away from being very like for their time, like very grandiose and like big and epic and having a lot of spectacle, but not that much interesting substance. I think Avatar is definitely one of those.
Yeah.
That hasn't aged well in terms of the story, because I think people were blinded by
Yeah.
the substance, or not the substance, the spectacle when it came out.
No, like a fun fact. I just remember this. My parents were going to see Avatar in theaters, and we were going to have a babysitter. But then they came home really early because apparently their 3D projection didn't work, and and basically everyone in the audience was just like, the only reason you are seeing the movie is for the visuals. If the 3D does not work, it's going to be bad. Don't watch it.
Right. In Avatar, like, you know, the visual effects are one thing, but like again, when we're talking about like stories that don't age well, it is an example of the white savior trope,
Mm-hmm.
and that, like, I'm sure people were upset about it back then, but now that we're talking more about social issues and like how the internet has grown so much since 2009, that's another thing that people just aren't going to agree with. Because the white savior trope is a huge thing. It's even going back forever, and Avatar is just another example of that. It's one of those things that again just doesn't age well because most people are not going to be accepting of that.
Yeah. A lot of movies also like were paced a lot slower back then. Like Dirty Harry was an action movie when it came out. If you watch it nowadays, it has such slow pacing. You might want to you could even call it a drama.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever have this happen where like particular like friends of your dad will like, oh, you're a film student, you need to watch this movie or this movie? And like the one I always got was like Animal House and like Revenge of Nerds. I'm like, these movies are like offensive and bad.
Yep.
And the other one, I
like Animal House, but definitely not like high art.
You just made me add a new thing to my list, is people asking about, oh, you're a film major, have you seen this?
What's the one you guys always get? I want to know.
For me, it was always Pulp Fiction until I actually watched it. Like, what? You're a film major? You haven't seen Pulp Fiction? What's wrong with you?
For me that I have still not seen is probably Spirited Away.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I need to watch
Jacob,
that.
I want to hear yours.
Yeah, what's yours?
I've seen like so many movies. It's hard for people to like come up to me and like say a movie that I haven't like even heard of. Borderline and impossible. But there are a couple like older, like The Big Chill was one that people kept telling me to watch for a while, and that's like an 80s like hangout movie.
Okay.
And it's all right. I finally got around to seeing it. And like a lot of like my parents or like people who are like from my parents' generation will like tell me to watch like all these like classic 80s movies like The Breakfast Club and stuff. And it's like, yeah, I've seen most of those films and they're not bad, but it's like they haven't aged that well. They're not like high art. I don't really care about them that much.
Right.
You know? I don't think they're must-see.
So like
no, like I will stand by that. Breakfast Club, it's one of my all-time favorites.
Mm.
Is it the best thing ever made? No, of course not. Of course not. Like,
yeah, but it's a fun movie.
Yeah, it's fun.
People
Yeah.
just have such a nostalgia boner for everything, and just because they grew up with it, they think everybody's just gonna enjoy it just because.
That's
true.
For me, I guess this is because I am generally around a lot of history people, so like I'll say, oh yeah, I'm a film major, and they're like, all right, so you need to watch Gettysburg. Patton, and like I feel like a lot of people miss the point on Patton because Patton's portrayed like he's a fucking psychopath, but people love him. Patton's like a terrible person, but everybody's like Patton's.
That's why I love the movie. He's such like a nut job. It's amazing.
Yeah, and then people are like, well, Patton was a great general.
Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
Pearl Harbor has anybody seen Midway?
No, I haven't.
I refuse to.
No,
I want to see it just for the experience of like. I know it's not going to be good.
Yeah, I know. I refuse to watch that movie because I saw the trailer. I'm like, dude, this is just fucking Pearl Harbor 2.
Old people are always obsessed with Gone with the Wind. That's something I found.
Oh my god, I hate
which
it
was
so
like,
much.
Which is like such an iconic film from back then that like
old people and a handful of drama students.
Yeah. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
respect that movie a lot, but yeah, it's a film that, like, I don't think many people would watch that today and go, wow, that was that was one of the best films
And you
ever
know what's
made, you know?
what's the best thing? It's like it's such a like a notorious like thing films that like people don't like now. Like has anybody so there's a game called a Kaiser Hearts of Iron that has a mod called a Kaiserreich, and they joke about it where if you're like one of the leaders, like, and they joke about the bit release of Gone with the Wind, and it says so and so Huey Long thought it was a bore. Because like people acknowledge, even people then thought the movie was boring, but it's just like
Mhm.
when 6 movies came out a year, a lot of people saw that happened to be the best one that year.
Mm.
And,
Like when your only other option is a movie about a guy riding around on roller skates for hours, falling down a lot. Like, yeah, this is pretty innovative.
Yeah.
the thing with Gone with the Wind too, like adjusted for inflation, it's one of the highest grossing movies of
Yeah.
all time.
Yeah.
So everybody saw it pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, when there's not a lot of movies around that.
Yeah. This is just
Yeah.
a special case.
Well, it was also like one of the first color films, and it was
Yeah.
huge. It was this massive event.
Yeah.
I
I haven't seen
I think that's another one that's more spectacle than substance. Although
Yeah.
I have to admit that story from Gone with the Wind is really like insane. Like that type of film couldn't get made today.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys think it's better when we have like professors that are like a little closer to our generation that like give more modern examples?
100%.
Yeah. Cause like
Yeah.
that's something, cause like I
Yeah.
always like, and I appreciate older films,
Mhm.
but like I think like the problem is a lot of our professors, and I like all of our professors, tend to
Yeah.
use older films and hold
Mhm.
them up as like
There are so many older films that modern audiences would love. Like there's this great movie from 1950
Mhm.
called Night of the Hunter. That's like it's like a modern day movie, but it came out in 1950. And I wish that people would show more movies like that, like really
Mhm.
groundbreaking movies that still hold up to show you how good older cinema could be. But a lot of
Yeah.
the time they just show you like Casablanca for the 14th time. It's like okay, whatever.
How many
Or-
times have you guys
or-
watched The Godfather?
Uh,
Only seen it
on
once.
my own, maybe 3 times. In school, maybe 4 or 5. Like
Once in school.
But like to be able to like it's so hard for me to understand a film concept with a film I haven't even heard of.
Mhm.
Like when I'm
But yeah,
sitting-
no. Question. McLean, did you watch with O'Brien the Train movie for intermediate production?
No, we never made it that far because
Yeah.
we kept getting
The
like
Train Enters the Station, the first movie ever made.
No.
like
There's a movie called The Train. It's like a 1960s.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah. That's like
and basically, and you know what? I thought it was fine.
Yeah, no,
but
that's
it
a
was-
very acclaimed film. I
Yeah,
really
no.
want to watch that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's good. Like there's a lot of symbolism, but it's
Mhm.
also like I can give it to you. None of us had heard of it.
It's also like an
Yeah.
action movie, though, right?
and
yeah.
I also think like this kind of goes into something about the film industry in general. There needs to start being a changing of the guard, I think.
Of the
Because a changing of the guard, because there needs to be newer people coming. Because
Yeah, I agree.
I'm sorry, we've gone so many of the same people, like even people I like yeah, great. I've seen Christopher Nolan. He's
I
done
want
this.
to hear new voices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
problem is like I feel the same way with actors. I want to see newer actors. I want to see newer voices. I want to see newer writers. But a lot of time, Yeah.
that's why I was
No,
like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh wait, I thought of
want
something
to-
else. Go ahead, Ethan.
I thank you. 3 new shows came out. Are coming out this year, and basically, has everyone do people know Bob's Burgers, Rick and Morty, and regular show?
Yeah, I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about. It's
No,
like
yeah.
the same. Yeah, I know.
And it's like, and so I see the trailer. I'm just like, this is just the same exact thing. Like, and for Rick and Morty, there's a new show. It's
Solar Opposites.
Yeah. Is it Rick and Morty basically?
It's by the same creator and
yeah.
similar style, but they're different.
Okay. All right.
So,
But
sorry.
no, and that was just like everything just looks so like, whoa, it's all kind of the same. Just like,
Yeah,
come
it's
on,
very homogenized.
Yeah.
new stuff.
That's why I was upset when Robert Pattinson got cast as Batman. I think Robert Pattinson's phenomenal. I love him, But like, I was so excited to see like a new breakout star take on the role. Of Batman.
Cast a nobody.
Yeah,
That was
and
kind of
then
one of the things
I mean, you know, Robert Pattinson, you're great and all, and I love you, and I'm sure this movie's gonna be okay. But yeah, you have potential to bring up somebody new, and you didn't.
The issue is for indie filmmakers. Like there are a lot of great up and coming filmmakers. They can't get a budget though. Like the guy who made Waves, what's his name? The guy who did It Comes at Night and Waves. Trevor Schultz, like he needs, like, give that man a budget. Like he's made like 3 incredible movies. Robert Eggers, who did The Lighthouse, like I want to see him do like a big like $1 million project, multi-million-dollar project.
I will like pay thousands of dollars for every single movie that Robert Eggers makes.
He's making a Viking movie next.
Yeah, and he's also
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah,
I think he's also working on like a reimagining of Nosferatu.
Oh, that would be.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
I like this. We need more of this.
Yeah.
But because Robert Eggers' style lends itself so well to historical fiction because he is such a sucker for authenticity, and like especially in the languages, like the way that he uses language in his films, how authentic to the time period it is, and how well researched everything is.
Yeah, I
I'm
simped
so
for
excited for
Robert Eggers' screenwriting.
So something I want to say real quick is something I appreciate about 1917. There are 2 leads. Well, they're one main lead. I don't think they were incredibly well-known actors.
No.
And that's something I would like to see.
I don't know what George McKay was in, but Dean Charles Chapman was King Tommen on Game of Thrones.
I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that was him.
Yeah, that was King Tommen.
Yeah. I thought he was gonna be the main character of that movie. Because it's like, he must be the main character, and then he gets stabbed, and it's like, he's not.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah.
Which someone pointed out something like,
I think is a more well-known actor.
Yeah.
Somebody pointed out about that scene. Imagine you just crashed, and 2 guys are trying to force feed you milk, and one goes to get the water. I would think I was gonna die too. Because imagine being that German pilot who's like, what's happening? Is one guy's trying to force feed you milk, and another guy's like saying, should we shoot him? And that's probably the only word you know. I know that word. I guess I gotta stab someone.
Yeah,
that's a great movie.
I love 1917.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it so much.
I'm surprised nobody else has tried to rip that off yet. The one take.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming.
Oh, it's gonna.
There's a lot of
Give it a couple
actually a
years.
lot of one take movies right now. There was that. There was Birdman, of course. I think was it called Victoria? There was some indie movie that did a one take. I'm sure there's more I'm forgetting about, but yeah, I think the one take is becoming very popular right now.
I began Birdman like 3 times and I can't get into. Like I keep getting bored.
Yeah,
with
that's a tough movie to get into. I don't blame you at all.
Yeah,
I mean,
I mean, I tried watching it on a plane. I didn't finish it, but I want to like give it another chance.
definitely do. I love it.
For some reason, whenever I fly, there's never good movies on. And like, let me give you an example. Once I was on the plane where like the options was like, I think it was like Baywatch and like the Assassin's Creed movie and the King Arthur movie. And I was like, what do I do? That's like,
I would have. All right.
well, at least this is only a flight
you
from
have
Peru
three
to Texas.
You got 3 movie options. The 4th option, just go to fuck to sleep.
I can't sleep on airplanes.
Same.
I need to be alert and ready for when the plane crashes, so I can be
Or,
terrified.
I mean, I guess you could just watch the flight path.
Yeah,
I'm
I've
sure
done that. That's what I did. I was like, guess I'm gonna watch till this plane goes for the next several hours. I love. God, it is great. Like I have like the bad luck of draw when it comes to like what movies are available. Boy, yeah. I really do think there needs to be a changing of the guard. I think in most of the entertainment industry, because also main characters are getting older and older in movies. Like
like in franchises?
franchises like
They gotta make that Indiana Jones 5 soon, or else it's gonna be a reboot with a different actor.
But Indiana Jones 5, we're gonna kill Harrison Ford this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing. We're just like, yeah, this is the same story,
too
but now
old.
they're old.
I remember after seeing 1917 with my family, I said to my mom, what's more unsettling, that movie with the animated dog, or Harrison Ford still acting? Have you seen behind the scenes for that movie? Because it's like the dog's animated. Yeah, it's a guy in a suit, and I feel bad for Harrison Ford because he had to be like not pretend
the behind the
this is
scenes
bullshit.
look like a Filthy Frank skit.
Wait, hold on.
I'm sure it does.
That's not his body? Wait,
Nope.
it's a
Nope,
guy.
it's a dude in a suit.
That's amazing.
It's like the dude who's like famous for doing like all that mocap stuff because he's
that's
like
great. Oh, I want to see behind the scenes and nothing else.
I'd like a cut of the movie that is just all like non-mocapped in.
I love that.
Yeah, I was actually watching like a CGI for like 1917, and like the stuff I didn't think would be CGI was CGI, and like this shit I thought would be CGI was real life. It was like one of those weird things. Like this is really specific, but there's a scene like the first time they're crawling out of the trenches. That's CGI. Like they're not really there. Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
Huh.
cool.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
There's one behind the scenes one that's really funny. It's with Beauty and the Beast. It's the dance scene, and basically Emma Watson is dancing with the Beast, and the guy behind it is just wearing this big inflatable suit. It's really funny.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like,
so
it's-
Mark Ruffalo in the fucking Hulk costume.
Yeah, it's basically like just a big Hulk inflatable Hulk suit.
So this is gonna be, I think, the last subject we'll go on to because I'm getting hungry. I haven't had dinner yet. What's like? There's something that we need to start seeing more of in the film industry, especially after coronavirus, and we start this back up. Like, how do we improve this industry as a whole?
Well, I think it goes back to a lot of what we were just talking
You got 10
about.
minutes. Go.
Out with the old and in with the new. We need new faces.
Yeah.
Get those old farts out of here, pretty much.
Yeah, I want to hear what new people have to say, what younger people have to say, you know?
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
also, we're in such a culture of accountability, and so much of old Hollywood is corrupted by awful, awful people. And I want to see a new generation inherit Hollywood and hopefully change it for the better.
Yeah.
Because there's such a disgusting culture surrounding Hollywood royalty, pretty much, and
Yeah.
get those old farts out of here.
And like
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like you have to acknowledge, some people are essentially going to inherit this film industry. Like there's some level of dynasty for the producers, actors, and whatever who get the jobs because they're related to people who were already successful or have connections to people who are already successful. And it's one of the frustrating things where we live in this time where everybody talks about like, we need to start doing more to be diverse, but also it's getting harder and harder to get in the film if you're not socially wealthy, in addition to being just wealthy in general, because we live in a society where our social classes are so like stringent, even if we're not aware of it, where generally it's only wealthy people who are only friends with other wealthy people that have these important connections. And it's only middle class who are friends with middle class people, and lower class. We create like this like unknown social stringent society where it's like harder for people who are unknown to get.
It's really hard to get into the industry unless you have like connections. Like if I'm gonna apply for a job at NBC, they're not gonna pick me over their producer's nephew.
Yeah.
Well, it's also easier now than it ever has been to get famous or well known. So I think that's something that we have going.
Yeah, and that's I said I wanted to complain about John Krasinski, but I don't want to because his people want to nominate his YouTube show for a Grammy, and that frustrated me that this celebrity who's a well-known guy is going to would potentially get nominated for his low production show, when there's tons of people who I've seen like they pull money out of their own pockets. They like start like Kickstarters to make films that are so like they're so passionate about, mean so much, and are so high value that won't go recognized or won't ever have their names out there. And I think I'm gonna try to put a few like short films I like in the links down here that are like unknown. And it's simply because they like people will always go for the bigger name, and I think we need to change that like quick. Like, and I think as like viewers, we need to like because this show is a show like. We need to open our eyes up to what we should be watching and talking about, or else we're going to have a very bland future in entertainment.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to end it. What do you guys think?
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. This has been Movie Smackdown Rantcast. See you next week when me and Tyler and maybe someone else talk about a Russian movie and an American movie.
Yeah. You're gonna have to text me the name of that Russian movie.